Hello students, welcome to Anne's classes. Let's do chapter 3 integers, exercise 3b. Now we are going to be doing operations in integers, and the first operation is addition of integers. Now how do we do this addition of integers? What are the rules to follow? So rule 1, when both the integers are positive, remember integers are negative or positive. Now when both the integers are positive, what do? We add them. So when both the integers are positive, we add them and then we need to give it a sign. We give it a plus sign. Okay, so we have an example here. Now we have two integers, 29 and 31. Both are positive. What should we do? Add. So we added and we've got 60 and we assign a plus sign to the result. You can write it simply as 60 or you can give it a plus sign and say plus 60. So what is the first rule? When both the integers are positive, so we have two positive integers. If you have to add, you simply add it and give it a plus sign. Now, even if you don't have a plus sign, it's understood it is positive. Rule 2. When both the integers are negative, what do? So add them. Again, when both are negative, we add, and this time we give it a minus sign. Okay, so first one was when both the integers are positive, what do? Next one, when both the integers are negative, what do? So in both the cases, we have to add. Here, when both are positive, we give it a positive sign. Here, when both are negative, we give it a negative sign. Now look at this example. Minus 25 plus minus 53, both are negative integers. So negative 25 plus negative 53, when you add it up, you have to add it up, you get 78. And what sign should we give it? We should give it a minus sign. So the answer is negative 78. So this is rule 1, when both are positive, add and give it a positive sign. Rule 2, when both are negative, add and give it the negative sign. Now we go on to rule 3. When both the integers are of opposite signs, that is, if you have one positive integer and one negative integer, you must always subtract. When signs are different, you must always subtract. And what sign do you give? You give the sign of the bigger number. So rule 3 is when both the integers are of opposite signs, you have to subtract and give the sign of the bigger number. Now let's take an example. We have an example here. One is a negative integer, one is a positive integer. Negative 4 plus 9. So this is addition, remember, but we have two numbers with opposite signs. So when signs are different, put the sign of the bigger number. Which is the bigger number here? 9. So put the sign of the bigger number and subtract. So 9 minus 4 is 5. So what is our answer? Plus 5 or simply 5. So what do we do when signs are different? We put the sign of the bigger number and we subtract. Next example is 7 plus minus 5. So here we have 7 and negative 5, two different integers, opposite integers. So signs are different. When signs are different, put the sign of the bigger number and subtract. So here again we have plus, and 7 minus 5 is 2. Now let me give you another example. Now suppose we have minus negative 9 plus 3. Negative 9 plus 3. So here one is negative, one is positive. Signs are different. So put the sign of the bigger number. The bigger number is 9, and what sign does it have? Minus, and subtract. 9 minus 3 is 6. The answer is 6. So in the third example, which is the one with a bigger numerical value? 9 is the one which has the bigger numerical value. And what sign does 9 carry? 9 carries the negative sign. So we have put the negative sign and we have subtracted. So rule 3 is when both the integers are of opposite signs, subtract. So as you can see from the examples, we've subtracted everywhere and we have assigned the sign of the number with a bigger numerical value. So now let's begin this exercise, which is on page 54. Find the sum of, first one, 16 plus 21. Now both are positive, so it's simply 16 plus 21. When signs are the same, we put the same sign and we add. Remember, we need to add. So 16 plus 21. Let's add that up. 16 plus 21. 6 plus 1 is 7. 1 plus 2 is 3. So the answer here is plus 37. You can even simply write 37 without the positive sign. Now look at the next one. Here we have negative 16 plus 21. Signs are different. When signs are different, we put the sign of the bigger number, that is the number with the bigger numerical value, which is a plus sign. And we subtract. Remember, when signs are different, we subtract. So here we put the sign of the bigger numerical value, that is plus. 21 has a plus sign, and we subtract 21 minus 16. So the answer here is plus. 21 minus 16 is 5. So our answer here is plus 5. In the next one, we have 16 plus negative 21. Again, signs are different, so we have to subtract. And what sign should we give? We should give the sign of the bigger number with the bigger numerical value, that is 21 has a negative sign. So here we say negative. And remember, we have to subtract. Whenever signs are different, we subtract. 21 minus 16. The sign is minus and the number is 5. So our answer is negative 5. Question 4. So here again we have two integers. Can you see both are negative? So when signs are the same, we put the same sign and we add. So whenever signs are the same, we add. So here how do we do it? We put the same sign and we add 25 plus 18. So the sign will be negative. Now let's add 25 and 18 and see what we get. 5 plus 8 is 13. Carry 1, 2, 3, 4, 43. So it is negative 43. So the answer here is negative 43. Question 5. Again we have two negative integers. So when signs are the same, we add. We put the same sign. Whatever sign it is, if the signs are the same, we put the same sign. That means we put the negative sign and we add these two numbers, 32 plus 47. So the sign will be negative. Now let's add the numbers 32 and 47. 2 plus 7 is 9, 3 plus 4 is 7. So here we have 79. So what's our answer? Negative 79. Question 6. We have one positive integer and one negative integer. Signs are different. We have to subtract. And what sign do we give? We give the sign of the bigger number. So 89 is the bigger number. What sign does it have? A negative sign. So we put minus and we subtract 89 minus 54. Let's do that subtraction. 89 minus 54. 9 minus 4 is 5. 8 minus 5 is 3. So that is 35 minus negative 35. This is our answer. Question 7. We have a negative integer and a positive integer. Signs are different, so we have to subtract. And what sign do we give? We give it the sign of the bigger number. 45 is the bigger number. The sign is plus, but we subtract 45 minus 38. So let's subtract 45 minus 38. 5 minus 8 you cannot do, so we borrow from here. This becomes 3. This is 15. 15 minus 8 is 7. And this is 0. So here the sign is positive and the number is 7. So what is our answer? Our answer is simply 7. Question 8. 96 plus minus negative 103. So here we have a positive integer and a negative integer. So we have to subtract but put the sign of the bigger number, which is 103, and the sign is minus. So we put a minus sign and we subtract 103 minus 96. So let's do that subtraction. 103 minus 96. Let's borrow. So we borrow from here. This is 10, 9, 13. 13 minus 6 is 7. Then we have 0 here. So here our answer is 7. The sign is minus. So the final answer here is negative 7. Question 9. 1 minus 150 plus. Again we have a negative sign. Two negative integers. So when signs are the same, we add and we put the same sign. So we put the same sign but we add 150 plus 15. So the sign is negative. 150 plus 15. So let's add up 150 and 15. 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. 165. So what is our answer? Negative 165. Now there is something called the additive inverse. Now what is that? For every integer that is positive, there exists an integer that is negative. That is plus a if you have. The additive inverse will be minus a, such that when I say plus a plus negative a is equal to negative a plus positive a should be equal to 0. That means if I take a positive integer, I should add a negative integer to it in such a way that my answer is 0. Then in that case we say positive a and negative a are the additive inverses of each other. Now let's take an example. Now what is the additive inverse of negative 7? The additive inverse of negative 7 is positive 7. Now how do we know that is the additive inverse? Now if you take both the integers negative 7 and positive 7 and you add it up, what is your answer? Okay, so here, since both are the same numbers but different signs, your answer is going to be 0. Okay, so in this case, the additive inverse of negative 7 is 7. Next, additive inverse of 9 will be negative 9. Additive inverse of negative 18 will be positive 18 or just 18. Additive inverse of 0 is always 0. So now let's work out question 2, where we have to write the additive inverse of 34 first. So the additive inverse of 34 will be negative 34. The additive inverse of negative 58 will be positive 58, or simply 58 without even the positive sign. The additive inverse of 0 will be 0. The additive inverse of negative 1 will be positive 1. And the negative inverse of 170 will be negative 170. So this is how we write the additive inverse. Next, we have to write the successor of. Successor means the number that comes after. Now we have 101. What comes after 101? 102. Now here we have negative 47. Think of your number line. All the numbers that come to the right are the successor. So what comes to the right of negative 47? It will be negative 46. Then we have negative 1. What comes to the right of negative 1 is 0. Then we have negative 80. What comes to the right of negative 80? Negative 79. Then we have negative 301. What comes to the right of negative 301? Negative 300. Now, if you're finding it difficult to think of it like this, you can just add 1. Now, let's take this example. Let's take example negative 80. Right. Now, if I take negative 80 and I want to find the successor of this, all I have to do is add 1 to it. And now we follow the rules of addition. Remember the 3 rules? When signs are different, we put the sign of the bigger number and we subtract. So 80 minus 1 is 79. So we have our answer here, negative 79. And we have that answer here also. So whenever you're not able to think quickly, then you can do the addition. To find the successor, you add 1 and then you will get your answer. The next question is write the predecessor of. That means the number that comes before. So we have 40. What comes before 40? 39. Now when it is a positive number, it's easy for us to say. But when it's negative, you have to think a little. So here we have negative 32. Now think of your number line and 32 is here. What comes to the left of 32? So what comes to the left is 33. So that is negative 33. Then we have negative 70. What comes to the left of negative 70? We have negative 71. Negative 91. What comes to the left of negative 91? Negative 92. Negative 0. We just have 0. What comes to the left of 0? Left of 0 is negative 1. So these are our answers. Now, if you're finding it difficult, again, like I said, let's take an example, negative 70. To find the predecessor, we subtract 1 from it, or you can just think of your number line. Now suppose I have some numbers here, negative numbers, negative 70. Here I'll have negative 71, negative 72, negative 73, and so on. So here you can see the number that comes before is negative 71. So that is our predecessor. Next we move on to subtraction of integers. Now how do we do subtraction of integers? To subtract two integers, we first have to write the additive inverse of the integer to be subtracted, that is the second integer, and add and follow all the rules of addition. Now let's take an example. Here we have two integers to be subtracted. So what do we have to do? Write the additive inverse of the integer to be subtracted. So which is the integer to be subtracted? Negative 3. Now we have to write the additive inverse of this. And what is the additive inverse? Plus 3. So we write 7 and this is plus 3, and then we have to add both. We have to add both the integers. So how do we do that? We say 7 plus the additive inverse of negative 3. So this will be 7 plus the additive inverse is 3, and our answer is 10. So this is how we do subtraction of integers. We write the additive inverse of the second integer or the integer to be subtracted, and we add. So we change the subtraction to addition, and we follow all the rules of addition here and get our answer. So let's do subtraction, that is find the difference, question 5. So here we have 15 minus 21. The two integers are 15 and 21. So we write the additive inverse of 21, that is the second integer, and we change the operation to addition. So 15 will remain the same. 15 remains the same. Now we change to addition and we write the additive inverse of 21. So let's do that in the next step. So here we have 15 and the additive inverse of 21 will be negative 21. Now we have finished writing the additive inverse. Let's add. Let's follow the rules of addition. So when you do addition, remember you have to look at the sign. So this is a positive sign, this is a negative sign. That means signs are different. When signs are different, we have to subtract. But what sign do we put? We put the sign of the bigger number, and the bigger number is 21. So the sign will be minus and we subtract, that is 21 minus 15. So we have negative sign there. 21 minus 15 is 6. So our answer here is negative 6. Let's go to the second question. So here also we write the first integer as it is, that is negative 29. Change the operation from subtraction to addition. Now we have to write the additive inverse of 9. So additive inverse of 9 is what we need to write. So now let's do that. So this is negative 29 minus, now minus changes to plus. Remember, we change it to plus. Additive inverse of 9 is negative 9. Now we follow rules of addition. Both are negative integers. So when signs are the same, we put the same sign and we add. Remember, when signs are the same, we add. So that will be 29 plus 9. The sign is negative. 29 plus 9 is 38. So what is our answer? Negative 38. Next one, here we have 70 minus negative 8. So let's write that. So this is 70. The subtraction becomes addition. Now we have to write the additive inverse of negative 8. So that is negative 8. Now let's write the next step. So that will be 70 plus the additive inverse of negative 8 is simply 8. So here again we have addition of two integers. Signs are the same. So we have the same sign and we add. So that is 70 plus 8, which is 78. So this is our answer. In the next question, we have 24 minus negative 24. So we write this first integer as it is, that is 24. Subtraction changes to addition. Now we write the additive inverse of negative 24. So additive inverse of negative 24, that means in the next step we have 24. Additive inverse of negative 24 is plus 24. So now we follow rules of addition. Signs are the same. So we have the same sign and we add 24 plus 24, which is positive. The sign is positive. We don't have to write it again. 24 plus 24 is 48. So this is our answer. Plus 48 or simply 48. Here also plus 78 or just 78. Next, we have one negative integer and a positive integer. We have to subtract. So the first one remains as it is. The negative integer remains as it is. The subtraction changes to addition. And now we have to write the additive inverse of 64. So in our next step, we say negative 36 plus the additive inverse of 64, which is negative 64. Now we add these two. Again, we are adding two negative integers. Signs are the same. So we put the same sign and we add 36 plus 64. Let's add up 36 and 64. 6 plus 4 is 10. Carry 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus 6 is 10. So that's 100. So here we have negative 100. And this is our answer, negative 100. So here we have 0 minus negative 20. Let's follow the same method. So that is 0 changes to addition and write the additive inverse of negative 20. So that will be 0. And what is the additive inverse of negative 20? It is positive 20. So 0 plus 20 will be 20. That's positive. So this is our answer. Question 7, negative 63 minus negative 7. So we write the first one as it is. So we have negative 63 and then we change the operation to addition. Now we have to write the additive inverse of negative 7. So the first one remains as it is, negative 63 plus the additive inverse of negative 7 is 7. So when signs are different, how do we add? We put the sign of the bigger number and we subtract. We have to subtract but put the sign of the bigger integer and bigger number there, 63 minus 7. Now how much is 63 minus 7? Let's borrow there. So this becomes 5, 13. 13 minus 7 is 6, 5, 56. So the sign is negative 56. So what is our final answer? Negative 56 is our final answer. Next one we have negative 80 minus negative 20. So negative 80 remains as it is. Subtraction changes to addition. Now we have to write the additive inverse of negative 20. So let's do that. So this is negative 80 plus the additive inverse of negative 20 is simply 20. So now we have two integers to add. One is negative, one is positive. So we put the sign of the bigger number, which is negative, and we subtract. So 80 minus 20. 80 minus 20 is 60. The sign is minus. So here we have our answer, negative 60. Question 9. Negative 12 minus negative 71. So negative 12 remains as it is. Subtraction changes to addition. Now we have to write the additive inverse of negative 71. The additive inverse of negative 71 and negative 12 plus. What is the additive inverse of negative 71? It's just 71. Now it is addition of two integers which have different signs. So when signs are different, we put the sign of the bigger integer, which is plus, and we subtract 71 minus 12. Let's subtract and see. 71 minus 12. We need to borrow here. So this is 6, this is 11. 11 minus 2 is 9. 6 minus 1 is 5. So here we have 59 as our answer and our sign is positive. So here we have plus 59 or simply 59. We'll stop with that for now, children. In our next video, we will continue with the remaining questions. Thank you, children.